I'm sitting in my home office, debugging a client's firewall, when Jenna walks in without knocking. She never knocks anymore. Her heels click against the hardwood floor like a countdown timer, each step measured and deliberate. She's holding her phone in one hand and a glass of wine in the other, even though it's only 4 p.m. "I'm cooking something special for Cole tonight," she announces, not looking up from her screen. "He's coming over around 7. You can eat elsewhere." The cursor blinks on my monitor. I save my work, close the laptop, and turn to face my wife of 12 years. She's still beautiful. Auburn hair perfectly styled, designer dress that costs more than most people's rent, makeup applied with surgical precision. But there's something cold in her green eyes now, something that wasn't there when we first met. "How thoughtful of you," I say, keeping my voice level. "I'll grab takeout. Wouldn't want to interrupt your evening." She finally looks at me, and I catch a flicker of surprise. She expected a fight, accusations, drama. Instead, I'm giving her exactly what she wants: my absence. Quote, 4, she says, though she sounds almost disappointed. Quote, fair. Quote, 6. Quote, 7. But she didn't need to. The implication hangs in the air like smoke from a fire that's been smoldering for months. Reid Trenner, the boring cybersecurity consultant who pays for her lifestyle but doesn't understand her soul. Reid, who fixes other people's digital problems but can't fix his own marriage. "What time should I be back?" I ask. "Late," she says, already turning away. "We might watch a movie or something." Or something. Right. After she leaves, I sit in the silence of my office, listening to her move around the apartment. The refrigerator opens and closes. Pans clatter in the kitchen. She's humming, actually humming, while she prepares dinner for another man in our home. I open my laptop again, but instead of returning to the firewall, I navigate to our joint banking accounts. Jenna has always been terrible with technology, which is ironic considering she works in digital marketing. She uses the same password for everything, her maiden name plus her birth year. I've told her a dozen times to change it, to use something more secure, but she waves me off with that laugh that used to be charming. The checking account shows the usual activity: her daily Starbucks, lunch with colleagues, shopping trips that would make a lottery winner nervous. But there's something new, a separate savings account I didn't know about. She opened it 3 months ago and has been transferring money there in small amounts, probably hoping I wouldn't notice. $15,000. She's been skimming from our joint account to build her own nest egg. I lean back in my chair and consider this information. Jenna isn't just having an affair, she's planning an exit strategy. The secret account, the increasing hostility, the way she's been working late more often. She's building a case for why our marriage failed while simultaneously preparing to leave me holding the financial wreckage. My phone buzzes with a text from Hayes, our neighbor from down the hall. "Heard voices in the hallway earlier. Everything okay?" Hayes Relin has lived in our building for 3 years. He's a real estate agent who always seems to be between big deals, the kind of guy who wears expensive suits but drives a 10-year-old Honda. He and Jenna are friendly, too friendly sometimes, but he's always been decent to me. I text back, "All good, Jenna's cooking dinner for a friend tonight." "Cole Merrick? Saw him in the lobby earlier?" Interesting. Hayes knows Cole. In a building with 200 units, that's either a remarkable coincidence or something more deliberate. Quote 14, quote 15. I set the phone aside and return to the computer. My job has taught me that information is power, and right now, I'm severely underinformed about my own life. Time to change that. Cole Merrick turns out to be easy to research. He has a website showcasing his art, abstract paintings that look like someone spilled paint on canvas, and called it emotion. His bio says he's had 3 gallery shows in the past 5 years, none of them particularly successful based on the reviews I find online. He lives in a converted warehouse in the Arts District, the kind of place that sounds romantic until you realize there's no heat, and the plumbing hasn't been updated since the Carter administration. More interesting are the photos on his social media. Cole at gallery openings, Cole at coffee shops, Cole at restaurants. And in several recent photos, there's a familiar figure in the background or sitting across from him. My wife. The timestamps tell a story. The first photo with Jenna appears 6 months ago, a group shot at some charity event her company sponsored. But by 3 months ago, they're appearing together regularly. Coffee dates, lunch meetings, evening events, always with plausible deniability, other people in the photos, professional contexts, innocent explanations. Except for the photo from last week. Cole posted it with the caption, quote, 16. It shows his easel with a half-finished painting, and reflected in the window behind it is Jenna, clearly in his apartment, clearly comfortable being there. I screenshot everything and save it to an encrypted folder. Then I dig deeper. Jenna's company credit card statements are accessible through the corporate portal, a security flaw I've mentioned to her boss several times. The recent charges paint a clear picture. Expensive dinners for 2, hotel rooms during her, quote, 17, purchases at men's clothing stores. She's not just having an affair, she's funding it with company money. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. By the time I hear Cole's voice in the hallway, I've assembled a comprehensive dossier on my wife's infidelity. Bank records, photos, credit card statements, text message logs from our shared phone plan. Everything documented, everything saved, everything encrypted. I grab my jacket and head for the door. In the hallway, I can hear Jenna's laughter through our apartment walls, bright and musical in a way she hasn't laughed with me in years. Hayes opens his door as I pass. Quote 18, quote 19, I say. Quote 20. He nods, but there's something in his expression I can't quite read. Sympathy? Guilt? Or maybe just the awkward discomfort of a neighbor who knows too much. Quote 21. Quote 22-2. I spend the next 4 hours at a diner across town planning. Not the emotional, reactive planning of a betrayed husband, but the methodical, systematic planning of someone who solves problems for a living. Every system has vulnerabilities. Every network has weak points. Every user makes mistakes that can be exploited. Jenna has made several mistakes. When I return to the apartment at midnight, Cole's car is gone and the lights are off. I let myself in quietly, noting the wine glasses in the sink, the candles burned down to stubs on the dining room table, the rumpled throw pillows on the couch. Jenna is already in bed, pretending to sleep. I brush my teeth, change into pajamas, and slide under the covers beside her. She doesn't stir, but her breathing is too controlled, too careful. Quote 23. I whisper. Quote 24. She murmurs, still playing the role. Quote 25. Quote 26. She shifts slightly, and I catch a whiff of unfamiliar cologne mixed with her usual perfume. Quote 27. Quote 28. Quote 29. Here it comes, the conversation she's been building toward for months. The speech about growing apart, about needing space, about how we want different things. The setup for her grand exit, leaving me to pick up the pieces while she starts fresh with her starving artist. Of course, I say. We should definitely talk. Maybe this weekend? When we have more time? Perfect. She relaxes beside me, probably thinking she's managed the situation perfectly. She has no idea that I've already started moving pieces on the board, that the game she thinks she's winning is about to change rules entirely. I lie awake until her breathing becomes deep and regular, then slip out of bed and return to my office. There's work to do. The first step is simple. I change the passwords on all our joint accounts, using my administrative access to lock her out of everything we share. Bank accounts, credit cards, investment portfolios, even the Netflix subscription. Then, I transfer the money from her secret savings account back into our joint checking, which she can no longer access. Next, I log into the building management system, another security flaw I've mentioned to the landlord, and update our lease information. The apartment is in both our names, but I'm listed as the primary tenant. A few keystrokes later, Jenna's access codes for the building and our unit are deactivated. Finally, I draft an email to her company's IT department, alerting them to suspicious activity on Jenna's corporate credit card. I don't send it yet. Timing will be crucial, but it's ready when I need it. By 3 in the morning, I've laid the groundwork for what comes next. Jenna wanted to play games with our marriage, to manipulate the situation to her advantage while keeping me in the dark. But she forgot one crucial detail. I'm better at this than she is. The next morning, Jenna leaves for work in her usual whirlwind of activity: coffee, makeup touch-ups, complaints about her schedule, promises to work late again. She kisses my cheek absently, the same perfunctory gesture she's been giving me for months. I might grab drinks with Sasha after work, she says, checking her reflection in the hallway mirror. Don't wait up. Sasha Chen is Jenna's closest friend at the marketing firm, the kind of woman who treats other people's marriages like entertainment. She's been divorced twice and seems to view Jenna's infidelity as a vicarious thrill. Have fun, I tell her. After she leaves, I call in sick to work, something I rarely do, and spend the morning making preparations. I visit our bank in person to add additional security measures to our accounts. I stop by a locksmith to have our apartment locks changed. I meet with a lawyer to understand my rights regarding our shared assets. Everything I do is legal, methodical, and documented. By afternoon, I'm back in the apartment, waiting. The new keys feel strange in my hand, heavier somehow than the old ones. I've left Jenna's belongings untouched, her clothes, her books, her collection of overpriced candles, but her access to everything else has been quietly severed. At 5:30, I hear her key in the lock, followed by frustrated rattling when it doesn't turn. She tries several times, probably thinking she's using the wrong key, before I hear her voice in the hallway. Quote 37. His door opens. Quote 38. Quote 39. Quote 40. Quote 41. I listen to her call a locksmith, her voice getting progressively more agitated as she explains the situation. The locksmith tells her what I knew he would. Without proof of residence and proper identification, he can't help her gain entry to an apartment she's not listed as the primary tenant for. 20 minutes later, I hear Cole's voice in the hallway. What's going on? Reid locked me out of my own apartment, Jenna says, her voice tight with anger. He changed the locks while I was at work. Can he do that legally? I don't know, I don't care. This is harassment. I walk to the door and open it, stepping into the hallway where the three of them are clustered: Jenna, Cole, and Hayes. Jenna's face is flushed with rage, Cole looks uncomfortable, and Hayes seems torn between wanting to help and not wanting to get involved. Quote 47, I say pleasantly. Quote 48. Quote 49. Quote 50 horrors. It's a lie, but a plausible one. The Hendersons did get robbed, though it had nothing to do with copied keys. This is my home, Jenna says. It's our home, and I'm protecting it. Cole steps forward, trying to look intimidating despite being 3 inches shorter than me and probably 40 pounds lighter. You can't just lock your wife out of her own place, man. That's not cool. I look at him for a long moment, taking in the carefully tousled hair, the paint-stained jeans that probably cost more than my monthly car payment, the silver rings on his fingers that are meant to signal artistic sensitivity. I'm sorry, who are you again? Cole Merrick. I'm a friend of Jenna's. Right, the starving artist. How's that working out for you? His face flushes. I'm doing fine. Are you? Because from what I can see, you're living in a warehouse with no heat, driving a car that's held together with duct tape, and your last gallery show sold exactly 3 paintings. To your mother. The hallway goes quiet. Hayes shifts uncomfortably. Jenna stares at me like she's seeing a stranger. Quote 59. Cole starts. Quote 60. Jenna gasps. Quote 61. Quote 62. Cole's hands clench into fists. For a moment, I think he might actually take a swing at me, which would be entertaining. But Hayes steps between us. Okay, let's everyone calm down, Hayes says. This is getting out of hand. You're right, I say. Jenna, you can collect some clothes and personal items. I'll supervise, of course, just to make sure nothing goes missing. Nothing goes missing? This is my home. Actually, if you check the lease agreement, you'll find that I'm the primary tenant. You're listed as an occupant. There's a difference. She stares at me, and I can see the exact moment she realizes this isn't just about the locks. This is about power, control, and the fact that she's been playing a game without understanding the rules. You can't do this, she says, but her voice lacks conviction. I can, and I am. You wanted to have an adult conversation about our relationship, remember? Well, here it is. I know about Cole. I know about the secret bank account. I know about the company credit card charges. I know about everything, Jenna. Her face goes pale. Reid, let me explain. No explanation necessary. Actions have consequences. You chose to have an affair. You chose to steal money from our joint account. You chose to use company funds to finance your romantic getaways. These are the consequences. Cole looks confused. What's he talking about? What company funds? Jenna shoots him a warning look, but it's too late. I can see the doubt creeping into his expression. Quote, 74. I say. Her quote, 75. Quote, 76. Cole's voice is uncertain now. It's not embezzlement, she says quickly. Those were legitimate business expenses, client entertainment. Is Cole a client? I ask. The silence stretches out until Hayes clears his throat. Maybe we should all take a step back here. Jenna, you can stay in my guest room tonight if you need to. Give everyone time to cool off. That's very generous of you, Hayes, I say. I'm sure Jenna appreciates having such a helpful neighbor. There's something in the way I say it that makes Hayes look uncomfortable, but I don't elaborate. Not yet. I want my clothes, Jenna says. Of course. Come on in. I step aside, and she pushes past me into the apartment. Cole starts to follow, but I block his path. Family only, I say. She's my wife. You're the guy she's having an affair with. There's a hierarchy here. He looks like he wants to argue, but Hayes puts a hand on his shoulder. Maybe wait out here, Cole. Inside the apartment, Jenna moves through our bedroom like a tornado, throwing clothes into a suitcase. I lean against the doorframe, watching. You're enjoying this, she says, without looking at me. I'm not enjoying anything, but I'm not going to be played for a fool anymore. I never meant for it to happen with Cole. It just developed. Over 6 months? That's a long development period. She stops packing and turns to face me. Our marriage has been over for years, Reid. We both know that. Do we? Because I seem to remember making an effort, suggesting counseling, planning date nights, trying to reconnect. You don't understand me. I understood you well enough to pay for your lifestyle while you were planning your exit strategy. She flinches. That money was mine, too. Was, past tense. Check your bank balance lately? She pulls out her phone, navigating to her banking app. I watch her face change as she realizes her accounts are inaccessible. You froze me out of our money? I secured our assets during a period of suspicious activity. Very standard procedure when there's evidence of financial irregularities. This is financial abuse. This is financial protection. There's a difference. She finishes packing in angry silence, stuffing items into her suitcase without care. When she's done, she faces me one more time. Quote 1-3. Quote 1-4. She wheels her suitcase to the door where Cole and Hayes are waiting. I follow, making sure to lock the door behind us. Quote 105. Hayes asks her. Quote 106. She says, but I can hear the uncertainty in her voice. Her secret savings account is gone, her credit cards are frozen, and Cole's warehouse apartment isn't exactly set up for long-term guests. Quote 107. Cole offers, but he doesn't sound enthusiastic about it. Actually, Hayes says, my guest room is available, just until you find something more permanent. How convenient. Hayes, the helpful neighbor, riding to the rescue. That's incredibly kind of you, Jenna says, and I can see her calculating the angles. Hayes has money, or at least the appearance of it. He's single, available, and clearly interested in helping her. Quote 111. Hayes says, not looking at me. They head down the hallway toward Hayes's apartment, Cole trailing behind like a lost puppy. I watch them go, then return to my apartment and pour myself a drink. Round 1 is complete. Jenna is out of my space, cut off from our shared resources, and beginning to realize that her carefully laid plans have hit an unexpected obstacle. She's probably in Hayes's guest room right now, calling Sasha or her other friends, trying to figure out her next move. Let her plan. I'm 3 steps ahead already. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Quote 112. I delete it without responding. Empty threats from desperate people rarely require acknowledgement. Instead, I open my laptop and compose an email to Jenna's boss, attaching documentation of her unauthorized credit card usage. I don't send it yet. Timing is everything. But it's ready when I need it. Then I research Hayes Relin more thoroughly. Real estate agent, divorced, lives alone in a 2-bedroom apartment that costs more than his reported income should support. His LinkedIn profile shows a pattern of job changes, always moving to new agencies, never staying anywhere long enough to build a solid client base. Interesting. Hayes might not be the stable refuge Jenna thinks he is. I pour another drink and settle in to wait. The game is just beginning, and I have all the advantages: superior information, better resources, and the patience to play the long game. Jenna wanted to destroy our marriage on her terms, leaving me to deal with the wreckage while she started fresh with her artist boyfriend. But she made one critical error. She underestimated her opponent. That mistake is going to cost her everything. The next morning brings a flurry of activity. My phone starts ringing at 7:30. Jenna calling from Hayes's number since I've blocked her personal line. I let it go to voicemail, then listen to her increasingly frantic messages while I drink my coffee. Reid, we need to talk. This has gone too far. Pick up the phone. I know you're there. I'm coming over. We're going to settle this like adults. The 4th message is different. My company is asking questions about my credit card usage. If you sent them something, you need to fix this, now. I smile and delete all the messages. Then I check my secure email and find exactly what I expected. A response from Jenna's company's IT security team, thanking me for the fraud alert and confirming they've launched an internal investigation. At 8:15, there's pounding on my door. I take my time answering, finishing my coffee and checking the morning news before walking to the entrance. Reid, Jenna's voice carries through the door. Quote 118. I unlock the door but leave the security chain attached, creating a gap just wide enough to see her face. She looks terrible, no makeup, hair pulled back messily, wearing the same clothes from yesterday. Quote 19, she says. Quote 120, quote 121, quote 22. Her eyes flash with anger. Quote 23, quote 124, quote 125, quote 126. She glances around the hallway, probably hoping no one is listening. Quote 127, quote 128, quote 129, quote 130. Cole appears at the end of the hallway, looking like he slept in his car. His clothes are wrinkled, his hair is a mess, and there are dark circles under his eyes. Quote 131, he asks Jenna. Quote 132, she says. Cole approaches the door, trying to look authoritative. Quote 133, quote 134, quote 135. Jenna snaps. Quote 136. Her face goes white. Quote 137, quote 138. The truth is simpler. I called Jenna's company this morning, posing as a concerned vendor who noticed irregularities in billing. Corporate paranoia did the rest. Hayes emerges from his apartment, looking uncomfortable. Everything okay out here? Reid's trying to destroy my career, Jenna says. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm succeeding. Hayes frowns. That seems harsh, Reid. Whatever's going on between you two, involving her job, is crossing a line. Is it? She crossed a line when she started stealing from our joint account. She crossed a line when she started using company money to fund her affair. She crossed a line when she brought her boyfriend into our home. I'm just responding appropriately. This is harassment, Cole says. I look at him with genuine curiosity. Are you planning to do something about it? Maybe I am. Really? What exactly are you going to do, Cole? Beat me up? Sue me? Report me to the police for what exactly? Securing my own assets? Changing my own locks? Reporting suspected fraud to the appropriate authorities? He opens his mouth, then closes it, apparently realizing he has no good answer. That's what I thought, I say. You're very good at seducing other men's wives, but when it comes to actual confrontation, you're about as threatening as a wet napkin. Reid, Hayes says, this isn't like you. Isn't it? How well do you know me, Hayes? We've been neighbors for 3 years, but we've never had more than surface-level conversations. You know what I do for work, you know I'm married to Jenna, but you don't actually know me at all. There's something in his expression that makes me think he's beginning to realize that. My phone rings, my work number. I answer it without closing the door. Reid Trenner. Reid, it's Marcus from Pinnacle Industries. We've got a situation here. Someone's been accessing our system remotely, and we need you to come in immediately. I'll be there in an hour, I say, then hang up. Work calls, I tell the assembled group. Some of us have legitimate jobs that don't involve stealing from corporate accounts or making terrible art that no one wants to buy. I close the door, leaving them in the hallway. Through the peephole, I watch them have a heated discussion that I can't quite hear. After a few minutes, they disperse, Jenna and Cole heading toward the elevator, Hayes returning to his apartment. But I notice Hayes pause at his door, looking back toward mine with an expression I can't quite read. At Pinnacle Industries, I spend 3 hours tracking down a security breach that turns out to be caused by an employee using his password for multiple accounts. Simple, preventable, and exactly the kind of careless mistake that costs companies millions of dollars. How do people not understand basic security? Asks Janet, the IT director. They understand it, I tell her. They just think the rules don't apply to them. They think they're smarter than the system, that they can take shortcuts without consequences. Sounds like you're speaking from experience. Personal experience, actually. People always think they're cleverer than they are. When I return home that afternoon, there's a note taped to my door. Quote, 163. I crumple it up and throw it away, then check my secure email. The response I've been waiting for is there. Jenna's company has suspended her pending investigation into the credit card irregularities. She's been escorted from the building and told not to return until the matter is resolved. Perfect timing. My phone rings. Hayes again. Reid, it's Hayes. Can we talk? What about? About Jenna. About this situation. I think you're taking things too far. Do you? That's interesting. Tell me, Hayes, how long have you been planning to swoop in and rescue her? Silence on the other end of the line. I'm not sure what you mean, he says finally. Of course you don't. Listen, Hayes, I know you think you're being a good neighbor, but you might want to reconsider getting involved in other people's marriages. She needed help. What was I supposed to do? Leave her in the hallway? You were supposed to mind your own business, but that ship has sailed, hasn't it? Reid, I think you should know, Jenna's talking about getting a lawyer. She thinks she has grounds for a harassment lawsuit. Let her try. I've documented everything, and everything I've done is completely legal. Can she say the same? Another pause. What do you mean? I mean, Jenna has made some very poor choices recently, and those choices have consequences. If she wants to involve lawyers, that's her prerogative, but she might not like what they discovered during the discovery process. You're scaring me, Reid. Good. You should be scared. You're harboring someone who's committed embezzlement, and you're involving yourself in a situation you don't understand. I'm just trying to help a friend. Are you? Or are you trying to position yourself as her white knight? Either way, you're making a mistake. I hang up before he can respond. That evening, I order Chinese takeout and settle in to monitor the situation. Through my building's security system, another vulnerability I've mentioned to management, I can see who comes and goes from the lobby. At 7:30, Cole arrives, looking agitated. He's carrying flowers and what appears to be a bottle of wine. Interesting. Trouble in paradise already? At 8:15, he leaves again, this time without the flowers or wine. His body language suggests the visit didn't go well. At 9:45, my phone rings. Unknown number, but I recognize Jenna's voice immediately. Quote 180, quote 181, quote 182, quote 183, quote 184, quote 185, quote 186, quote 187, quote 188, quote 189, quote 190, quote 191, quote 192, quote 193, silence, quote 194, quote 195, she says quietly, quote 196, quote 197, quote 198, quote 199, quote 200 out, quote 201, quote 202, quote 203, quote 204, quote 205, quote 206, quote 207, quote 208, quote 209, quote 210, quote 211, quote 212. The line goes quiet for a long moment. Quote 213, she says finally, quote 2 I hang up and pour myself a drink. Through the window, I can see the city lights stretching out into the distance, thousands of people living their lives, making their choices, dealing with their consequences. Jenna thought she could manipulate the situation to her advantage, that she could have her affair and her exit strategy while keeping me in the dark. She thought she was smarter than me, more sophisticated, better at playing these games. She was wrong about all of it. Tomorrow, she'll have to choose, accept my terms, or find out just how much worse things can get. Either way, I win. The next morning arrives with unseasonable rain, the kind of steady downpour that makes the city look gray and defeated. I'm drinking coffee and reviewing the separation agreement my lawyer prepared when my phone starts ringing. It's Hayes. Reid, we have a problem. Do we? Jenna's gone. I set down my coffee cup. Gone where? I don't know. She left sometime during the night. Took her suitcase, left a note saying she was sorry for involving me. Interesting development. I check my computer, accessing the credit monitoring system I set up to track any attempts to open new accounts or access existing ones. Nothing. No hotel charges, no car rental, no activity on any cards I know about. Did she say anything yesterday about her plans? She was upset about the job situation, and she and Cole had some kind of fight. What kind of fight? I don't know the details, but he stormed out around 8. She was crying afterward. The flowers and wine. Cole must have gone to Hayes's apartment expecting a romantic evening and instead found a woman whose life was falling apart. Reality has a way of making affairs less appealing. Quote 224. Quote 225. Quote 226. Silence on the other end of the line. Pew, tep, twiu, tweet, tligut, tweet, scout, tpiri, kim, prion, king, 32, king, teen 3, ko, chino tfir, gay, teen 3, gay, 30, high, teen, 37, king, 38, coat, 39, another long silence, coat, 240, coat, falati, scout, 42. I hang up and call my lawyer, scout, figuri, the coat, TV, coat, taiv, scout, 26, coat, 27. By noon, I have my answer. Hayes isn't just in debt, he's in serious legal trouble. 3 former clients are suing him for misrepresenting properties, and the State Real Estate Commission is investigating allegations of fraud. He's been borrowing money from anyone who will lend it, including some very unsavory characters. No wonder he was so eager to help Jenna. A wealthy marketing executive would have solved all his problems. My phone rings at exactly 12:01. Jenna. Quote, 2:48. Quote, 2:49. Quote, 2:50. Quote, 2:51. Quote, 2:52. Quote, 2:53. Quote, 2:54. Quote, 2:55. Quote, 2:56. Quote, 2:57. Quote, 2:58. Quote, 2:59. Quote, 2:60. Quote, 2:61. Quote, 2:62. Quote, 2:63. I hear her breathing on the other end of the line, probably trying to figure out her next move. Quote, 6:4. Quote, 2:65. Quote, 2:66. Quote, 2:67. Quote, 2:68. Quote, 2:69. Quote, 2:70. Quote, 271. Quote, 2:72. Quote, 2:73. Quote, 2:74. Quote, 2:75. Quote, 2:76. There it is. The fundamental selfishness that's driven every decision she's made for the past 8 months. Her happiness was more important than our marriage, more important than honesty, more important than basic decency. Quote, 277. Quote, 278. Quote, 279. Quote, 280. Quote, 281. Quote, 282. Quote, 283. Quote, 284. Quote, 285. Quote, 286. Quote, 287. Quote, 288. Quote, 289. The line goes quiet again. I can almost hear her calculating, trying to find an angle, a way to regain some control over the situation. Quote, 290, she says finally. Quote, 291. Quote, 292. Quote, 293. I hang up and check the building's security system. Hayes is in the lobby, pacing back and forth like a caged animal. He's probably wondering where Jenna went, whether his meal ticket has disappeared entirely. At 2:30, Cole shows up. I watch him have an animated conversation with Hayes, lots of gesturing and head shaking. After 20 minutes, they both leave together. Interesting. The alliance is fracturing. At 4:15, Jenna calls back. Quote, 294 idasm. Quote, 295. Quote, 299x. Quote, 2997. Quote, 2 Quote, B9. Quote, 300 das. The audacity is breathtaking. She wants me to pay for the privilege of being betrayed. Quote, 3001. Quote, 302. She's not wrong. A criminal case would drag things out for months, maybe years. I'll pay the money, I say, but there are conditions. What conditions? You sign a confession detailing everything you've done. The affair, the stolen money, the company fraud, everything. Why? Insurance, to make sure you don't try to rewrite history later. What else? You sign the separation agreement without changes. You move out of the city. You don't contact me again except through lawyers. You want me to leave town? I want you gone, completely, permanently gone. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem. You wanted independence, Jenna. This is what independence looks like. I don't have anywhere to go. You should have thought of that before you decided to destroy our marriage. The rain has stopped, and late afternoon sunlight is streaming through my windows. The city looks clean and bright, washed free of grime and pretense. Okay, she says quietly. I'll do it. All of it? All of it. Good. Come home. We'll finish this today. An hour later, she's sitting at our dining room table, signing documents with shaking hands. The separation agreement, the confession, the repayment plan for her company. Each signature is another step toward the end of our marriage and the beginning of her exile. Quote, 322. I ask as she signs the last page. Quote, 323. Quote, 324. She looks up at me, and for a moment I see the woman I married 12 years ago. Vulnerable, uncertain, human. Quote, 325. Quote, 326. It's true. The anger has burned away, leaving only cold satisfaction at a job well done. I'm sorry, she says, for all of it. I know you are, but sorry doesn't change anything. She nods and stands up, gathering the copies of the documents I've given her. Quote 330. Quote 331. She pauses at the door, looking back one more time. Quote 332. Quote 333. After she leaves, I pour myself a drink and sit in the silence of my apartment. Our apartment? My apartment. It's over. The marriage, the betrayal, the revenge, all of it finished. Jenna will disappear to Phoenix. Cole will continue his pathetic artistic career, and Hayes will have to find another solution to his financial problems. I've won completely and decisively. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Quote, 334. I delete it without reading it twice. Empty threats from desperate people rarely require acknowledgement. Tomorrow, I'll change my phone number. Next week, I'll redecorate the apartment. Next month, I'll start dating again. But tonight, I'm going to sit in my clean, quiet home and enjoy the sound of victory. It sounds exactly like silence.